Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
My name is Griselle Myers. My friends know me as Jossie, so please feel free to call me that. We are all Waterbury Public School parents, and we are here today to share our stories of how we found our voice, how we use it, and what sustains us in using it. As we each come up, I'm asking that you please allow all of us to tell our stories and then hold any questions to the end. Thank you. Heather? Miss Heather Green will be our first.
Good morning. My name is Heather Green, and I'm here to share my story about what caused me to find my voice. I took PLTI, Parent C, PEP. I am currently in a Waterbury Citizens Place Academy, which I never heard of, and I got involved. It's a 7-week course, and I'm learning to find my voice in that aspect of my life now. But what caused me to find my voice originally was I had a child who had a medical issue and my insurance would not cover it. And I remember from PLTI, I remember one of my facilitators mentioning an attorney who could help me out. And I tapped into that resource, and they asked me to speak at a press conference. I'm not good at speaking. I did it. I've been doing that for a long time now, years, because my daughter was very young then, and she's 15 in high school now. And the things that keep me sustaining my voice is there's always something that needs advocating for. Not just my own children, but all children in Waterbury, even outside of Waterbury. My focus is in Waterbury, except for my nieces, nephews who are not in Waterbury. I will reach out to my sisters and give them avenues they can go down, because I believe it's important to advocate for the students who don't have a voice, and maybe their parents don't know how to use theirs, but we can teach them little bits and little pieces. So that's everything for me. Thank you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for coming again, and my name is James Clark. I have two school-age children here in Waterbury, and I believe that my career path took me into this field. I recall right out of high school, I worked in many communities where families were affected by social and economic issues, educational issues, and also service needs. And as I grew older and so I had my own family, I used those experiences to kind of guide what I did with my own kids. My oldest, pretty successful. The youngest had some issues in school, mostly dealing with his learning style, his personality traits, and in the classroom it was difficult. He got the content but wasn't able to produce the achievements that we expected him to do. To achieve. We assessed him, evaluated him, and our thought was, well, let's go to school and talk about ways that we can help Jamal to excel. And we worked on that, had some struggles with it, but based on what we did, we saw that he was able to improve academically, and that was one major indication for us, or for me, that I can use my voice to help parents who may have children with the same kind of needs, to advocate, to understand how to have discussions that are productive, not to walk into a school, for example, and have discussions which they are very demanding. So part of what I do now with my voice is I engage engage schools through the PPT process many times. I work with families on understanding what their needs are, so that when they go out to advocate for those needs, it can be done in a way where those who they're speaking to fully understand what those needs are. And here in Waterbury, I do a number of things. I'm actually on the BTS mental health committee. which is very useful seat to sit in because we talk about how mental health impact others around us. I do some work with the DPAC committee. I'm the co-chair for that. And so my voice is used in many different ways, but mainly to give people a deeper understanding of how to self-advocate and how to really get results. And I think many times we talk about our issues and don't look at what results are we getting from it. So how does the parents know that his or her work is actually producing some results? So that families can go back and assess that and determine whether or not there's something else that they need to do to achieve greater results. So that is how I use my voice, and that's how I became involved. Thank you.
Thank you, James. That's a tough act to follow. Again, I'm Jossie. I forgot to mention that I am a parent liaison at Westside Middle School. Here in Waterbury, I also work closely with Compact Community Schools, program which I really, truly believe in. When my children, I have 6 total, 5 of which I have an 8th grader now who is graduating from my middle school, 4 who have already gone through, and I have one in elementary that will be passing through. At the time that my 4 eldest children were there, you ask them every day, do you have anything for me? What's going on in school? Nothing. Now I know it's not really the parents' fault, it's the kids' fault. But I had basically had enough of not knowing what was going on in the school, and I was blaming it on the school. So I went in, and at the time, the principal, Charles Nappy, he received me well because I was that angry parent who marched into the doors, and I had a lot to say about his school and what he needed to do with it. And he says, well, why don't you start volunteering here? And I said, are you crazy? I don't have time for that. I ended up doing it anyway. I did that for 2 years. The school was not very welcoming at the time. I was kind of the enemy because I was a parent. At the time as well, I was at IBM. They were in that transition phase where everyone was going to be unemployed soon. And the principal calls me and says, would you like to work here? So that in itself was a joke. So you want me to work with unfriendly people for a little bit of money that you want to give me? I was like, absolutely not. And then I became an employee because I thought maybe I could help out in some way, just changing the environment there, being more welcoming to families. Because when you walk through the door, it wasn't very welcoming. So time passed on, and the following year, not knowing what I was really doing, we found out that we were accepted into a Compact Schools collaborative, and I thought it was great. So the hierarchy was going to change from the bottom up, and we had autonomy granted to us from the city of Waterbury, and this was going to be awesome. But I really didn't think about the changes that it was going to make in the school. So that following September when we came in, a month had passed, and I gone to Mr. Nappy again, and I said, there's something wrong with your school. He says, what now, Jossie? I said, people are smiling. There's something wrong, something bad's gonna happen. But it wasn't that. We fostered a change in the building. They said, Jossie, you need to handle the parents, and you really need to get them in here. And I believe that there has to be people out there to show the parents the way. And that's what I believe that my mission is there is someone in all of your schools, my school, that can help lead the parents. Even if they're angry, they're not sure what's actually going on. So again, being a middle school parent, I didn't understand going from elementary school to middle school that my teacher no longer has 30 students. I'm dealing with teachers who are dealing with 120 students a day. Maybe she doesn't have that time to speak to me. So that helps me every day be able to relay that information out to parents when they first come in. I'm kind of like that buffer when they're angry. Thank you. And when they do come in, it's nice because we do have a place in the school where we can sit down and have those conversations. It's a parent resource center. And that keeps me going because there are so many parents out there that don't understand how it works. They don't understand that teachers, you guys have a lot going on, a lot on your plate. And then to have to deal with 120 kids, to go home and deal with you don't really have vacations. I understand that. My sister-in-law is a teacher. So I use that to help me guide the parents through the educational process. And I make a joke with them because we have a lot of cinder blocks in our building. I'm like, listen, do you pay taxes in Waterbury? One of these blocks belongs to you. This is your building. You need to feel comfortable coming in here. So we're still working on that. I love my job. It's very stressful sometimes, but I do love it. And that's my story.
Hi, my name's Nate Monroe. Thanks for tolerating my lateness. I had to drop her two sisters off at school getting up here. You guys didn't hear you could bring your kids? I'm sorry. I guess I'd just like to say I'm happy to be here talking about parent voice because obviously our children are the most voiceless people in our society, so we have to be here to speak for them because they don't get a political voice and they often don't get a literal voice to speak for themselves. So that's our role, and I'm sure you guys are all very aware of that and very active in that respect. I am technically not a Waterbury parent. I live in Naugatuck. My kids go to Naugatuck. I've taught in Waterbury schools. My wife is still a teacher in Waterbury schools. I volunteer at the Children's Community School here in Waterbury. I do as much as I can. I think that a lot of people in my generation, late 30s, to give you a hint, kind of, we felt a little bit left out of maybe like the civil rights movement. You know, we were just right after that. And so some of us, maybe I shouldn't say a lot, but we spent some social time trying to catch up to that, you know, trying to be active, trying to get a piece of what that must have been like. So I think that's one reason that I'm pretty active in the community. I didn't really, speaking about voice, I didn't really understand fully where I got my voice until pretty recently. I was born and raised in Ferguson, Missouri. Yes, that Ferguson, Missouri, that's the one. And you guys didn't even know that, I don't think. Half of these guys I was in PLTI with a few years ago. So you know, you grew up with racial tension, and I want to dispel a myth about Ferguson here. It's not a tense between black and white citizens, people living in the town. It is tense between the police force and, you know, our African American community. But it was really one of the best places, I think, on the planet where you could grow up if you have an open heart and an open mind about racial issues. And that certainly impacted me, and it definitely drives my motivation to fill my life with as many diverse people as I can. As most people know, diversity just adds strength to just about any situation you can be in. So that's important to me. Kind of a rule of thumb: if you ever find yourself in a room where everybody looks like you, everybody thinks like you, everybody acts like you, get out of that room. You know, because you're not going to learn anything. There's no growth there. There's no way to grow in that environment. So I try to be as open to experiences as I can. And as far as sustaining my voice, obviously, you know, my kids sustain my voice. That's what pushes me on. But on a personal level, it's being in education, being a former educator. Now I can call myself an independent education consultant. It sounds really neat, but basically what it is I do 2 part-time jobs for just above minimum wage, managing 2 different preschool programs in Naugatuck. But it sounds better if I call myself that. I've taught in New Orleans public schools. I taught in Baltimore public schools. I taught in Waterbury, New Haven. So all public schools. I've kind of been around the block. And there's always one common thread, and that is that, you know, the achievement gap, that our poorest kids, the families that are struggling the most are getting the worst resources. And that's what I'm passionate about, is trying to bridge that gap, trying to fix that, right that wrong. And, you know, it's a struggle, but there's no better way to spend my time as far as I'm concerned. So that's my story.
Hi everyone, my name is Vitória Katsi. I came from Albania in 2004. I don't speak very good English, but I hope you can understand me. I'm working quality control inspection, and I take the class PEP and PLTI. My experience here is I came from different country, from different culture. When I came here, I was by myself, and I was pregnant and with my husband. No family, no friends, nothing. When I came here, I said, "Oh my God, now I lost. I don't have nobody here." I was home from 2011. I was staying home with my kids. My son, he started school. And I said, what I have to do now? One day, I met one Albanian woman. She told me to go to take a class, PEP. I said, yes, I'm gonna come. I wanna learn more. I wanna be parent. I wanna be parent leader. I wanna use my voice. I was in a class. I wanna say thank you to Angela. She helped me to see myself. I cannot be just being a parent. I can change. She gave me a force. She pushed me to do more things. I was in a PLTI. I learned too many different things. Never I heard it before. After this, I was taking community messenger. Now I'm helping the people to give information for what they need. And I love it. Now I see myself, I said, oh, I can do more than like I was thinking. And the good thing is, I'm starting the school for medical assistant. It's one good thing because my son, he was very happy. He's good student, very good student. I cannot say nothing about it. But the day when I came from the school and I said, Max, I'm gonna go to school for medical assistants. He was, wow, mommy, thank you, I'm so proud. I said, because I saw my son, he was pushing me all the times, and I learned the language when I started to speak. My son, he helped me to speak it. I was not in school for language. Everything I learned, it's from my son. And I'm so proud. I can use my voice for when I go to the school, to my kids' schools. And each day I learn more and more. Thank you.
Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome. My name is Ruby Scolaro, and I was the parent liaison at Kingsbury School Elementary. Now I'm the parent liaison at Waterbury Career Academy High School. What helped me to find my voice is I have my son that I love so much. He's my hero. He was diagnosed with Noonan syndrome. I remember that day that the social worker, I was living in New York City, and he came with a paper and he said, sign in here because your son won't learn. So I was on a generic appointment, every appointment, and he had so many surgeries, and it was devastated because everybody said he's not going to grow and this and that. And I remember is when the word opened on you, and I was crying and find solution, and I became, the doctor was like, huh, because I began finding resources and group and about what Noonan syndrome was, and today my son, he's an honor student. He's ninth grade, third year, going to Roger Williams University for biomedical engineering. He's the president of the YMCA in Waterbury. He got 25 kicks. I'm so proud of him. He encouraged me to keep going, and from that beauty, even my husband now, he's a contractor here. He building Kennedy High School, school store. My daughter going to third years. So she's going to graduate this year from Nagata Valley. Now she's going to her bachelor for nursing in Southern Connecticut. And the more beautiful thing is this group of parents here, we are unified together. And right now, with Angela and my school and parents from Kingsbury School and Career Academy are graduating. They are community ambassadors, they are parent ambassadors. We're working from frustration to hope, guiding, and solution. We walk in the park together. We do breakfast together. Mexican breakfast, Dominican breakfast. we dancing, we cry together, but we moving forward to find solution. And I have so many beautiful people just right here in this room, all my parent liaison, Miss Linda, Angela, all of them, Mary Ann Monroe. Oh, I remember when I moved from Florida with all my question, I went to Mary Ann Monroe, like, what I gonna do? What I gonna do with my daughter? And she said, Rubies, go here. And from that day, my daughter graduated. We honored to a scholarship for STORE. Thank you. And find all those resources, and I have all those parents and all those kids that I touch every day at the school and work with them. Now, when they had tests and they're nervous, I go in the hallway and I say, you can do this. And they say, oh, Miss Colaro, everything was wonderful. And sometimes I do a lot of workshop and activity. I'm the fun girl. So I gave them cookies. Miss Colaro, thank you. You know, they get that inspiration, that look in their eyes. Is something that I'm learning. It's not about how much degree you have or money. It's about 2 ears to listen and a heart without compassion to touch somebody's life. You know, so yesterday I have a meeting with her mom. She was crying, and I wasn't there as somebody who worked at the school. I was there as a mom who cried like her. You know, and I hold her hand and I say, we're gonna do this together. Here's my phone number. I told his son, my son is this and that, and they love to see his pictures. And I say, that's going to be you too. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Beverly Bullard, and I am a CAN coordinator for the homeless at Salvation Army. And I was listening to everyone, and I had told Heather I didn't know whether being first or being last was a good thing. But I didn't have a voice. I had lost my voice somewhere. I was a foster parent, for a therapeutic foster parent for a long time. But I got my voice back when my daughter says to me, why don't you come with me to help Christina reach? She was starting out, she was a PTL person, and she has graduated, and she was starting her, it's women, inspiring women, don't quote me, but something like that. Anyway, I went with my daughter, and I saw how Christina got up, and she said, what her goals were, what her passion was, and the other girls that was working with her got up and they spoke, and they did an excellent job. And from her saying that, believe it or not, it sparked a fire in me, and I said, you know what, I have a passion and I could do something. So I asked her about how she got started, and she told me it was through PTLI. So I called Angela and I started taking the class, and from that class they told me that I was a parent leader, and I just did something that just did something to me, and and for me, that inspired me, that gave me my voice back. And from that I went on to PEP, people empowering people. I said, oh my God. And let me tell you, then from that I went to Bridge to Success, and now I'm a community leader. And then I had stopped working for quite some time. So I was getting bored at home. And I'm a foster parent also, a therapeutic foster care. But I have a child that is blind, and she's autism. She's on the autism spectrum. So I was always advocating for her, even since she was small. But you know what? I never thought about it as being a parent leader. But I got so involved in PTLI. I'll tell you, that did a world of good for me. It gave me encouragement, hope, saying that I do have a voice. It's something when you don't have a voice. But when you find out that you do have a voice, you're able to make changes. And you feel better about yourself. And from that, believe it or not, I went and I got a job at Salvation Army. And everything that I had learned in PTLI, when I started working at the Salvation Army, I went all the way up to the to Hartford for they were having something about the homeless, and I had to go up there. And also everything that I've learned from PTLI, once again, it has helped me tremendously, even in my job. I'm able to, from Bridge to Success, they always send me new information over that I'm able to share with the people in the homeless shelter. And then on Tuesday, when I do interviews with the homeless, I'm able to share with them the things that I have learned. And you know what, just like that little bit of hope that when I listened to Christina speak, that was given to me, I'm able to give my voice and share it with the homeless, because they do need to be encouraged. Some of them need jobs, and some of them need help with their children. But all that, everything that I've learned, once again, it turned around for my good, because I use everything at the Salvation Army. I even use it in my community with the people that live across the street from me. So I'm very glad, and I thank you, Angela, for it's been such a blessing to me, everything that I've learned. And I got my voice back.
And now it is time for any questions, if anybody has any.
You don't have any voice.
I have a question. To the parents, how do you each do your thing in different schools in Waterbury? Or is it just all, you guys aren't all in one school, right? I'm assuming you're not, okay. How do you galvanize, what sort of things do you do to get the parents more involved? Because that's great hearing from, you guys, but I'm wondering, is it just you in your school? And do you find any trouble galvanizing and attracting more parents to help make your voice louder?
So something I can say, I don't work in any of the schools, but I am involved with a high school because my daughter is there. I'm involved with a middle school, and I have no children there. My children have been out of there for 2 years. I was involved in an elementary school because my youngest daughter was there, and she's not there anymore. She's in a new elementary school. So in these different schools, I do different things, and there are other parents who are involved. It's dependent on the school sometimes, and then sometimes you have to reach out to the parents to bring them in, such as at Westside Middle School, the parent liaison, Jossie, who spoke, she's very welcoming and inviting to the parents. So she has a bunch of parents there. Over at Waterbury Career Academy, where Rubus now is, we have a good number of parents as well. We have a very strong PTSO there. In the elementary schools that I'm with, it's a little different. It's harder to get the parents. I'm not sure why that is, but they do have parents that do come in, and I think it's more about reaching out and seeing what's holding the parents back. And again, the welcoming environment, because just because Jossie's welcoming or Rubus is welcoming doesn't mean that the secretary in the front is welcoming, and that may turn a parent off. So we have to figure out ways to get to them before they reach that person that turns them off, I think. If anybody else wants to speak on that.
I would like to say what I do. People make fun of me sometimes. They say I'm like a little bee going from flower to flower. What I do, I always have flyers, always. in my car, everywhere. And I always challenge people because I believe, I grew up in the Dominican Republic. In the Dominican Republic, I grew in a home with my mom. Everybody, we cook and we share with everybody. We go outside the neighborhood, we talk, we say good morning. If somebody's sick, we give medicine. It's like knowing everybody. And if somebody cry, you cry. If somebody's happy, you dance. So that's sort of the same thing I do. Is even my son sometimes say, Mom, somebody's gonna kill you, because if I see somebody throwing garbage on the floor, I just put my window bag down and I say, excuse me. My husband sweep the horse tree and somebody drop and somebody get mad at me and say, oh, are you an elected official? And I say, no, I'm a citizen. And you're supposed to be a responsible citizen too. And don't throw garbage. What about when the kids get out of the bus? What kind of image and example we gave to them? So it's not a job for me, it's a passion, it's a way of living, it's a way of take care of each other and build community, positive way. And when people come to me with complaint, I say, let's look to a solution. How we're going to solve that problem. And it's beautiful because people like that. You have to see every day how many people looking for me. It's amazing. And they want to do things. It's amazing how they say, how can I help you? What I can do? And it's beautiful. And I have people who make cake for me. I have people that cook for me. I always have food. That's why everybody follow me too, I think. And try to build up. And it's beautiful what happened in the community that I live. And something that is happening is a lot of blight, and we have bar. So I have a good news. We're working together with Department of Housing, with the state, and now they're going to demolish all those blight houses. And they're going to, I've been challenged there. I say, what about having a bar? I go to Hartford and Farmington, they have museum. They're going to put a museum and a library over there. So you say it's work. When you find your voice and you find partnership is really important. Like I went all the way to Veronica, you remember me? And I went there and said, give me material. And I get out with boxes and boxes of material, and I gave it to everybody. And people are willing to learn. I share your history out there, be open. And the one who don't listen, just give it some, like I say, Dominican chancleta, like behave and get straight. And we can do that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Just wanted to add a different perspective, I think. For me, it's a bit different, I think, because I volunteer with Waterbury PAL as a soccer coach, and I've done it for many years. And being a coach and working with with students and parents, you get to hear a lot about what they struggle with, and parents look at coaches as someone who can guide their child or themselves to deal with issues such as leadership on the field and taking responsibility. So that's one way in which I engage parents. So let's say parents discloses that, hey, I'm having this issue in school, encourage them, why don't you go and deal with it? Here's how you should do so. And maybe when they come back, they might reflect on it and say, hey, great job, and keep those families going. As a part of my job, I do work with many families through referral based. So it's not so much going out and engaging families. They tend to come to us and say, hey, we need your support. And that's one way in which we engage families and collaborate with them in terms of dealing with their own specific needs. So that's really my feedback to the question which was asked earlier.
As Heather said, I'm at Westside Middle School, and that's one of the schools that she volunteers at. She has no children there. She just loves what she does. I think the most important thing is that front door. That is number one. So the welcoming schools, number one. So who's at that desk? I'm usually there with the secretary. We do a lot of joking around with our parents. If I've never met you and you came into the school, you're probably going to engage in some sort of joke with us, whether you like it or not. We do have, as Rubis has full meals delivered to her. We get candy bars, stuff like that. So I'm gonna bump it up a notch. Yeah. But once you start building that relationship with the parents that you really don't know, and that's what works for me, is then the next time I see them, and the next time I see them, and then it's, can I talk to you for a second, please? You know, there might be something that you can help me with. And it's very huge impact because our principal's right behind and she'll say, good morning, good morning. Huge impact when a principal calls a parent and says, do you think you could help me with something? Much bigger than I could ever do. And that's like when we were younger and we went to the principal's office, we were scared. So when a principal calls a parent who's already in good spirits and is comfortable with us and says, would you help me with something? That's like the President of the United States called. They're going to say yes. So just consider that welcoming school concept when parents are coming in. They need to see smiling faces and they need to feel comfortable when they walk in that door.
Anybody else?
Or just a comment, in our district, we're really sort of new to this thinking, and I know that many of our principals, many of our teachers have so much to learn from parents. I mean, I just want to thank you all because I think that we forget that. And in education, we're used to, well, we're providing this service, this information, and it really helps to think differently about how to do this work right. So I just want to thank you all because I just learn a lot when I listen to each of you. So thank you.
Yes?
This, see if I get it right, PLTI, is that only in Waterbury area? And is there any other ones?
Angela, would you like to come up and speak?
You can do that.
Okay, hi, I'm Donna.
Okay. Oh, there we go.
Part of what I do during my job as a legislative analyst with Capitals, I coordinate the PLTI stuff statewide. Right now we have about, sorry, Kate, lady. Thank you, Patrice, for helping me. Thank you, folks, for your voice. Important messages today. I think the thing that you can feel here as well is all the fabulous energy that comes with that finding of your voice. So we do have PLTI. It's a statewide opportunity. I was in East Hartford yesterday. I know we're having some conversations in Manchester as well. We have we coordinate that with our parent leadership training that Patrice coordinates, our Parents Supporting Educational Excellence, and we work a lot with the PEP program. So a lot of our partners around the state are discovery initiatives because of the family involvement component that they like to have going, and we kind of support that work. Many communities now offer a continuum across the school year of many of these programs, in addition to workshops and parent universities, so that they're available at any point in time where a parent wants to engage. So we do have fabulous folks like Angela Holmes who coordinate our work in the local towns and communities. So if you want more information, I'm happy to give it to you, or you can check our website, www.plti-ct.org. Testimonials, you'll see the research evaluation, you'll see posters, brochures, and other things like that. And I certainly have cards with me today if you'd like to have some conversation. Where are you from?
Connecticut Technical High School.
Oh, perfect. Okay. Thank
We're
you.
all over the state.
Yep.
That's why my question was.
Okay.
Is it statewide?
Could I just say too, when I took PLTI, I'm from Naugatuck, so I came up with Waterbury. Yeah,
sorry.
and just real quick, Naugatuck just this year got their own PLTI, which can be a good or bad thing. But as far as I understand, well, I would have rather come here, and now people are stuck in Naugatuck. But as far as I understand, if you find somebody passionate to petition for your own, you can kind of get them in town. Is that more or less true?
Yeah, so we just,
Well,
thank you, sir, for the information. So we actually, all know about the state budget and what somewhat of a disaster that is.
I was gonna ask.
So we actually, 2001, got some state funding, about $500,000 a year that is matched with Grusty Memorial money. So $500,000 from the state, $250,000 from the private match. We go out to bid with our friends at State Department of Education. Judy Carson is our leader over there at SD on this work. And our friends at CERC do a competitive bid application that we hope will be coming soon. We hope the budget will have some money for us. And hopefully that'll roll out in the late spring, early summer for programming funds that would be available for next school year. There is a match at the local level that's required of that, but it's generally in-kind or cash match. So part of what we get to do is run around the state and help people kind of patch the money together they need to run the programs. But it is kind of an intergenerational model as well. So your investment in that one-time hit, as you can see, gives back for many, many years. So they're the testimonial to the work. Other questions before I sit down? Okay, thank you.
I have a question to the parent panel. What do you see, a couple of you, as the next biggest challenge for parents within your schools, and what you're doing right now about resolving your challenge?
I would say, in Waterbury, I speak Spanish, so we have a 51% Hispanic population, and what I see, I sometimes want to make a clone of myself because it needs a lot of translation, and I didn't know the stress when you translate so much, and how, but the need is huge. So even sometimes I'm really tired. I say, how I leave that family, do you understand what I mean? Without understanding, without help. I wish that, and I even challenge my Hispanic population and my parents, and they are doing it. I even going back to my country now, June 30th, because I almost did 5 years accounting over there, to go back to college and learn more and stay more and get a degree in the United States. And I be that leader of my parents that we can do this, that we can get prepared and help one another. Because the challenge to, for example, when a student is not behaving, I understand because I know the culture. What it can be, I have a sample, for example, when I had to tell somebody you're homeless, when you tell a Hispanic people you're homeless, they don't understand because they say, but I live with my aunt. I live with my cousin because in Dominican Republic, nobody homeless. If your aunt have a bed or even on the floor, you have a home. I remember my mom used to bring, because my father used to have a lot of money, so I would have a big home, and everybody from the countryside come and sleep there, have the baby there. So the homeless, they don't get it. But we had to try how to combine that we are in the United States and telling my parents, we have to understand culture too and come in the middle in order to grow up our children, because my children are American. You know, to bring together all the culture and understanding and peace and love. That's my bigger challenge. Thank you.
To me, I think one of the things that we need to focus on is really engagement. How do we get our community to be more engaged? We could look at families, schools, providers, but and I don't have an answer to the second half of your question. How do we do that? I think what we may need to do is work together as community providers and problem solve around those things. And as they come up, we figure out ways to get more engagement in our community so that the issues that we struggle with can be addressed. So that, looking at it from an intergenerational standpoint, we could see the results down the road.
I just want to bring up an issue that's going to be a challenge for the coming future, and that's testing. I think that we have not really committed to what we're doing as a state as far as testing our children, over-testing our children. There is a movement of parents who are considering opting out. A data monster loses its strength if you take the data away, and I'm not an advocate for either side, but we've got to address tests that accurately reflect what we're doing, what we want to see. Technically, tests are not really necessary because our tests track so closely with income, and family literacy. We really don't need the test. You can take a child's family income and how many books they have in their home and get a pretty good idea what their test score is going to be. So until we address that and fix that, it's my oldest daughter's third grade now, so this is her first testing year, and I think it's really something we need to address.
I'm sorry, I know. For me, the biggest challenge I think that I really need to take hold of is I sit in some meetings, and I'm a parent, I have no idea what the heck is going on with a lot of the acronyms that are used. A lot of the paperwork that I'm even sending home, I'm looking at it and then I'm looking at my schedule. How am I going to find time to translate this into layman's terms so that a parent will even understand what we're even trying to say? So they're signing stuff that I believe that they don't even know what they're really signing and sending it back home because we said that if your kid doesn't bring it back, they're going to get detention. So that's one thing. The other thing I wanted to mention to the gentleman in the back is that something new maybe to think about. In our school, we have a place for parents to go so that they can have coffee. There's computers. It's beautiful. There's a couch, a refrigerator, microwave, and it's their own private place. That way, if I was a teacher and I've been teaching all day, I don't want to go into the copy room, my coffee room, and have 15 parents using my copier in my way. That's a feeling that's going to be there, and you can feel that in the air. So it's really important to have that special place for parents so that when they do come in, maybe they have to wait 15 or 20 minutes for the principal to be available. They can go to the parent center, parent room. They can relax. It's their place. And that's one thing I do always let them know is that this is your room. Don't feel uncomfortable. If there's nowhere else for you to go when you come in, if I'm not here, you go right in there, you call me up, and I'll be on my way. So just...
So I'm going to sort of interject here because I know one of the purposes of the cafe is for you to have an opportunity to talk and network with one another. The 3 questions that are listed here are what this group took on as sort of the outcomes that we'd like you to get from this, and then they really crafted the format for sharing their stories. But we'd like to give you a little time at your tables to sort of look at those questions and take them on, or anything else from today, and then we're just going to popcorn a couple of responses before we go on and hear about some of the opportunities that are available in Waterbury for parent voice, just to give you some other ideas about how people get their voice. So take 10 minutes to talk at your tables, and then we'll come back together again. If we could hear a couple of just observations of what was considered at different tables. So just one spokesperson from a couple of the tables. Otherwise, I'll call on you. How about this table over here? What was your conversation about?
Okay, I'll go.
Thank you.
We had just done a welcoming walk at one of our schools that we're working with, and so the conversation started with kind of the welcoming piece of it with Betsy sitting here at the table. It was a natural to start to talk, and Linda and I had just attended last month a welcoming walkthrough training program that PrEP offers, and then at Bassick High School we were able to do a welcoming walkthrough yesterday. And so the conversation that needs to be a welcoming environment, and then there are tools like the welcoming walkthrough as another vehicle for having a parent feel like they have a voice. And then I had talked about that some of the parents that I work with really don't like meetings, but they like action. And so that if you have a leadership team at a school that will really not take that report from the welcoming walkthrough, but they'll put it not on the shelf, they'll put it into action, then those parents can have an action plan off of that with things that they discovered, identified as needs, and if then they pull in other people, now you've got a program to build around. So it's a different vehicle with PLTI. I have had troubles recruiting people for PLTI because they see the long-term commitment. And I'm not trying to say be sneaky about it with something like a walkthrough, but if you can get them to engage and give their feedback in the first place, and then they see actions that they can take, maybe then you can build them to a commitment like a PLTI. So it's just looking at those different places, but there has to be the start, which was your question, of do we have the will and do we have the desire to create a welcoming place? And the other thing that had come up was this physical place for parents to be was a little piece of discussion too. Did I leave anything off, guys?
Okay, so another table. Maybe you went in a different direction.
So we talked about, some of us have been at the last cafe and heard about Aspire and talked about parents as assets, which is sort of bringing under the same tones from the parents speaking just now. And we talked about how we're really working hard to try to make sure that parents not only see themselves as welcome, but there's a purpose for them coming in, that it's ongoing, that it's not just, I talked about an experience of being a parent myself, where my elementary school had a very definite interest in me being involved in one of my checkbook. We wanted me to write to buy the wrapping paper this month, and next month it was the candles, and the following month it was something else. That's not real involvement, and it really feel all that value. But the idea that there has to be, that I'm seen as someone who has value, that makes a big difference in building that relationship around common value and common goals, which we talked about.
Maybe one more table before we move on? Something else that add to everybody's toolbox?
In all honesty, Judy and I were talking a little shop. We shop around family engagement, and I think if you read the literature from those people who study this, and certainly that there are faces in this room that I have known for years doing this work, as I have done and my colleagues have done. What you know right away is different strokes for different folks. Families will be engaged if each of them sees there's a place for them. Everyone doesn't want to go to PTA meetings. I was one of those parents, an educator who didn't want to necessarily sit at a PTA meeting and discuss the money, for the playground. It just wasn't me. Asked me to come in and read to children in kindergarten or first grade or whatever, I'm there. Okay? So very much as you said, PLTI, Parent-C, people love it because it's good. It's good for individuals, it's good for the community, it empowers, okay? Welcoming walk through, excellent beginning to welcoming parents into looking at the current reality of your school and to making it all the better so more people will be welcome. So there's room for everybody. The difficult part is for the folks who came and shared their wonderful stories is how do you get multiple entry points into family engagement when there are usually so few people to do the work. So getting people in to do the work, providing more and more opportunity in different ways, okay, and things do grow. So it is so important for me to hear your stories and to know that sometimes when we in the middle of this day are trying to figure out how to do this work, that you on the ground are doing it already. And I think a lesson for me today is that I have to, and my colleagues I think have to get in touch with you people who are on the ground who are really working to make this happen. So thank you. Very good.
So I'm going to thank all of you. We are really pressed for time, and 10:30 is looking closer and closer in a place where you're surrounded by clocks. So I'm going to turn this over to Angela Holmes, and she's going to talk a little bit. She's going to run the next section.
Before I begin to say anything else, I am a proud graduate of PLTI, Parent-C. Without them, I would have not found my voice. I am also proud of every single parent that sat here because they came out of Waterbury, and every one of them, even Nate over there, found their voice and they're using it, and there's more to come. So, Patrice, Dawn, thank you. My name is Angela Holmes. I am the Waterbury Hospital's Youth Pipeline Coordinator / Director, which happened along this transition with Waterbury. In Waterbury, we have PLTI, Parent-C, CLTI this year. We have Albanian PEP, Spanish PEP, and English PEP. We have done it all. And out of it, this year was the first year we had CLTI, and we graduated 18 students, and it was phenomenal.
People don't know what that is.
Children, CLTI is the parent to PLTI, which is called Children Leadership Training Institute. They go 20 weeks It's with their parents in a classroom. They learn exactly the same curriculum at their level. And being a teacher, I know how important that is. And they get books because it's very important that they rebuild the library and that they read with their parents, and they come back and they report to us, and the parents report to the facilitators in PLTI. So they're there together in separate rooms, and it's an awesome program.
How old?
We have them from 4 to 12.
Wow.
Yes, and the teachers, they are
4 years old.
4 years old to 12. 12 years old, yes. I've been very fortunate because of finding my voice and getting through school and being able to work in the community to help PLTI and the parents grow in that area, but I could not do it without a lot of people. You know, with Waterbury School District and with BTS, I would not be able to do this. So this is not just about us, it's everybody. So when you look at how do we make it better, it's not about me, it's everybody. I'm just the link that's putting all these parents where they need to be. So I'm going to decrease and ask one of my friends, who is the coordinator of BTS, to come and tell you what is Bridge to Success. Miss Chris Durante.
Hi, I'm Chris Durant from Bridge to Success Community Partnership. I thought Angela was going to sort of steal my thunder and start talking about it, but you know, she sort of like led into it a little bit. Those of you who don't know, but I see many of our partners here in the room. For those of you who don't know, we're a collective impact partnership that encompasses about 85 organizations within the Waterbury community and about 200 individuals, many of which are parents. That partner together to work together to affect change, to assist youth to succeed in school, work, and life. So we do a lot of work. There's a lot of opportunity for the parents to be involved in that. We have work groups, family engagement work group, early care and education, positive youth development, and workforce development work groups. We meet monthly. We have parents, people from the schools, people from service providers, everybody who's trying to work together to affect change. A lot of the things that some of our parents said that very much resonated with me about the welcoming climates. We're trying to do that with our family engagement work group and sort of dig deep and find out how we can affect change in that way. Another way for the parents to get involved is our BTS community messengers, of which there's a few here today, of which made me very proud. And they're getting out in the community and finding resources and referrals for our families. So there are a lot of opportunities for parents to have their voice within the BTS partnership. So I encourage you, if you're interested in getting involved in a work group or any other way, please contact me. And thank you so much.
The next two people you will hear from, I've had the pleasure to work in the school district, and I've had the pleasure of working with these ladies very close. Miss Gladys Wright will come up first and tell about what we have in the district, and following Miss Gladys will be Miss Marianne Merrill.
Good morning. I'm Gladys Johnson Wright, and just a little bit of history about parent engagement. I look over the room, and from Title I to Chapter 1, Head Start, and that's what I'm about. And listening to people and floating around from table to table. Parent engagement has varied, and it will continue to vary because it's generational. Nate touched on it a little bit. Those of us coming out of the civil rights movement, when I was in LA last month, we did a generational workshop. And we all come from different points of view, and we're impacted by different incidents that happen in our lives. Dress style, I frown when I see the dress code today, what some of the kids are wearing and what they're doing to it. And I'm sure when I was wearing my halters and my belly button, believe it or not, someone was frowning and telling my mother to put some clothes on me. But anyway, because of the commitment of Waterbury Public Schools, we are fortunate to have a very strong infrastructure for parent engagement. All of our schools have parent liaisons, if not full-time. We have them part-time in the high schools. And some of the middle school parent liaisons, they overlap in their units. We offer workshops, training opportunities. There are just many, many different ways to engage parents. And I look at all these parents here, and we network. Waterbury is not, it's a big little town where everybody know everybody. Most of the parents, I see them shopping in the community. I see them all the time. They have my cell phone number. I can get a phone call at 10 o'clock at night. That's networking. It's nerve-wracking sometimes, and my husband feels like I'm neglecting him, and perhaps he's right. But it's years ago we said parenting is not an instinct. It's something we learn each and every day. And I find that with my son, who is responsible for me being involved in Waterbury Public Schools, he's 51 years old now. And my grandchildren, I was involved in their education. And I'm thinking about what keeps me involved. The need, the desire, and the appreciation. People, parents, administrators, folks value what we do because we change the lives of people. And they see us and they remember one little boy I saw the other day at the gas station. He said, "You're a teacher, aren't you?" I said, "No." He said, "But you were my mentor." And I'm thinking, and you were one of those little bratty kids sitting there. That Nancy Vaughn's program, Nancy's in charge of the mentoring program, and I helped her. And of course, Linda Riddick and I worked up at Wilson, where she was doing dropout prevention, and we did a parenting class. Parents still come up, instead of nagging, you're that lady that did the dirty laundry. You know, so these kinds of things. And Marianne will tell you some of the opportunities that we do. But before we leave, Angela has to tell you about the big challenge we have coming, our citywide parent and community leadership conference that's coming up May 1st at Naugatuck Valley Community College. So we're doing a lot of things in Waterbury with very little resources. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mary Ann Merrill. I have a very long title, but I'm just going to give you part of it this morning. I'm the education liaison for the Waterbury Public Schools now. Prior to that, I was the principal of Drake School for 12 years. And my mantra there always was, I'm your mom away from home. And right now, I'm the mom of the school governance councils in Waterbury. And when you have that feeling about taking care of children and taking care of students and taking care of families, they get that feeling from you. And that is a feeling that I try to give to people when I'm around them. And for school governance, it's bringing parents, community, and our high school students and administration together for achievement. In Waterbury, we have 19 school governance councils right now, and it's a constant bringing together to the table. We have a lot of families that move, so it's a constant recruitment, bringing new parents and staff members and teachers to keep filling these positions. In 2011, we had 14 school governance councils, and then in 2013, we brought 5 more on, so for a total of 19. So we're doing a lot of training. We've done some great trainings with Connecticut State Department of Ed, and CABE comes and helps us. We try and meet on a monthly basis with our school governance councils, and we're very proud of what's going on. The district really embraces what we're doing, and we're going to bring on some more school governance councils, whether the state legislates more, but we're going to add more in the years to come. So I want to thank you this morning. Many of these parents were my parents at Drake's, and I've worked with all of them, and they are great parents, and we thank you for being here this morning with us.
So now I'm going to turn this portion back into the hands of Miss Patrice.
So actually, this is transition time. That's the end of the parent voice component, and I think with 10 minutes to spare, it's the end of Cafe.
Thank you. Thank you, Patrice.
My name is Betsy Laborious. I want to say hi and thank you for everyone. So this is really this is our wrap-up time in terms of people offering different resources and trainings that they may do. But one thing I just want to, I'm not usually speechless, but talk about voice. I mean, you brought me to tears, honestly. So I get kind of emotional. So the grit, and that's kind of that idea of you continue to pursue, right? You do it despite pretty challenging situations, and then the hopefulness in terms of your continuing reaching out to other parents is pretty inspiring. So I want to thank you very much for that. There are little cards on your table, little funny cards, colored cards on your table. They are our aha moments. So as you're probably thinking about quotes. I wrote several down myself. Quotes or things that really will stay in your mind. It's a something that you're gaining insight over. Write them down for us because we want to know what you're thinking in terms of aha moments. We plan on using your quotes in some kind of a piece later on as far as an art piece. So if you wouldn't mind doing that. Certainly the evaluations. Thank you, Jude. Judy's passing out evaluations. And then I want to give people time to kind of offer, whether it's training or other resources that they can offer to our networking group. We probably should do that now. And I know Miss Barbara, you have one right now, but you're going to have to stand up. Do you have a resource to offer to people? I think Judy said.
I'm sorry. Thank you very, very much. Betsy and I go back just a few years. With Judy and others. What I wanted to talk about is, go over there.
I'll move right aside. It's bad when you work with the director of this thing who's videoing this, and then you don't follow the directions that she sets out for you. What I wanted to talk about was from the Bureau of Special Education at the State Department of Education and the Parent Work Group. Every year, there goes out from the State Department of Education a parent survey to parents of students with special needs. So the parents of students who have IEPs, will receive surveys. It used to be that we would send them out every 6 years, and so we took a sixth of the state and sent it out year one, the next sixth, and on a rotating basis. We have changed that to every 3 years. And I am up here because you who work so closely with parents and so closely with schools need to know when your district will be surveyed for this. Our smaller districts, every parent of a student with special needs will receive the survey. In our larger districts, where there are many, many children, what we do is take a random sample, which our evaluators know, a number of the parents, that the evaluators say will represent all parents, so that in any survey, you don't have to survey everyone, but a representative sample in those larger districts. And I'm sure Waterbury is probably one where every parent will not get it, but many will. The reason this is so important is to give the State Department of Education information about an indicator that we report back to the federal government. And that indicator it's called Indicator 8, and it talks about, has the district engaged families, in facilitating
good programming and services for their child with disabilities. Very important information. The federal government is very interested. We at the Parent Work Group are concerned because we are not sure that we are getting the response rate that we really need to make this truly the voice of the parents of children with special needs, especially from parents of color. And this is a very important aspect of all of this. So what I would like to do, I have 2 copies of a document that lets you know what year your town, Waterbury or any of Bridgeport, whatever town you're in, will be surveyed. And I'm asking you, as parent people, to make this known to your families. Be on the watch out for a survey. This information will come to these parents in probably the beginning to the middle of June of this year for the first go around of this new programming. And information will come to probably the Director of Special Education as well as the Superintendent about where the resources are to help parents make this out. The Connecticut Parent Advocacy Center, CPAC, is very helpful in this. They have a 1-800 number. They can be called by parents on how to make out the survey. The survey comes both in English and in Spanish, so that we have that covered. We don't have it in other languages, but we do have that. Nita?
I just wanted to say that if you wanted to know your district, besides the 2 copies here, we have it electronically in color so that we can tell you the districts available or not.
And thank you. You are invaluable resources to getting the word out and getting people to respond back and send it back.
Does anyone-
It's a completely anonymous survey. Nobody in the State Department sees it. It's all done by evaluators.
Are there any other resources that people want to offer as far as happenings that people can take advantage of in the room?
Betsy?
Yes.
Just like a minute about your welcoming, because that came up a couple of times.
I will. Thank you. Thank you. You love it. Thank you. I love to. I really don't pay people for this. I was out of the room. So we are offering a welcoming walkthrough, which is May 11th in Hartford. There are spaces available. A good manager that I am, I do not have one of my cards with me. But I will put my email address on the flip chart. Yes.
The microphone.
Okay.
So one of the things we can do is I can send out information. You're all on my mailing list. That's how you got here today. And so Betsy will give me the date and the contact information for that training for welcoming walkthrough, and I'll make sure that gets out to you. Anything else that anybody has that you'd like for me to announce to the group, I'll be glad to be the conduit for that.
If we are good, I guess I can't wait to say this, time to close our meeting. And we look forward to seeing everyone. I think when are we? May 29th at the Mark Twain House. So we're very excited about our final meeting. Hang on. Nice.
Briefly, Waterbury is putting on a parent leadership community conference, and on Thursday at Westside Middle School, 6:15 to 8 o'clock, we have invited a representative from the U.S. Department of Education. We're having a VIP reception at Westside, and the VIP person from Washington, D.C., along with Olga Perez. Many of you probably know Olga from Boston. She has worked with Judy and Veronica and many of you. But we're putting on a reception at Westside, and you're invited. You can just show up. First come, first serve with the very good food. But thank you. If you have any more questions, you can talk to me about it, okay?
Did I give her a name? Her name is Elizabeth Williamson.
So, thanks again, stay in network.